All right, good afternoon, everybody. I am Shannon Ellis, but that's not the important part. The important part today is that I am really just here to facilitate the chat while Wayloon kind of takes everything over. So, just as a brief introduction, Wayloon was an IA for me my very first quarter here. He was an IA in COGS 9. Since then, we have kept in chat, and I have just been floored by how many great ideas he has, how much he cares about helping others to learn in the tech sphere, to learn how to program better, how to teach better. So, in that same theme, he approached me a few weeks ago, maybe last week, and said, "Hey, I would really love to share what I've learned getting internships and having an internship." And then now moving on to the next step with students who are interested. And as with all of his ideas, it was a great idea. So I am just here to kind of let Wayloon take the reins, and I will monitor the chat. So if you have a clarifying question, feel free to throw it in the chat. If I need to interrupt Wayloon, I will. And then there'll be a time when you can unmute yourself and ask questions and get all the discussion out that you want. With that, I am going to turn it over, and I'm so excited to see you all here and to hear what Wayloon has to say.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to this sessions. I'm really happy to meet you all and to share some of my tips on how to land a good internship for next summer. So I will start with a little bit introduction about myself. So now I'm the fourth year student at UCSD with a COGS major and the CSE minor. I have been CSE tutor and the COGS IA for about 2 years. And also I just completed the internship at LinkedIn last summer, and I will return as a full-time next year to the LinkedIn as well. So why get an internship? I think most importantly is really it can get you a lot of industry experience early, so you can decide whether you want maybe go to industry or go to grad school after you graduate. And also you can explore some personal interest in the field, such as mobile development, web development, backend development, or maybe you can discover I actually want to do data science, or I want to do UI UX design. So it's a really good opportunity for you to actually learn from lot of people in the company, because you have lot of chance to talk to different people, and also you can get paid to learn. So they will pay you to let you to learn some new skill. Like for me, they pay me to learn iOS development. So I didn't really know much about iOS, but actually I learned while I was doing the internship. So that helped me to build a much more solid resume, and also most importantly, you can get out a written offer, which can save you a lot of effort for your final year. So the general step of getting internship, you will start with searching for opportunities. I think all the opportunities are open around late August, and then you're going to prepare your resume and start your application online, and then you will complete the online assessment once you pass your resume. And if you pass the OA, then you will get some interview invitation. They'll typically one round or 2 rounds. And in the end, once you pass the interview, you will get matched to a team. So the entire process kind of happened between late August and early February. For me, I started my application at LinkedIn around October, and I got my team match around early January. So this time kind of vary between different companies. So how to search opportunities? So here's a really good GitHub repo that you can that list all the opportunities are happening right now. So I will post this this slide after this talk, so you can go to this link and check it out. And there's some other website like LinkedIn, Indeed, Handshake, Google, Jumpstart, a lot of websites. You can go there and use some keywords such as software engineer, intern, data science to search for the jobs. So there are a ton of out there, and I will show you how to do it later. And also while I was searching the opportunity, what should you pay attention to, right? So the first one will be the job descriptions. So generally, in the job description, they will talk about your responsibilities, what you will do in the company, as this job, and also there will be qualifications, what do you need to get this job, and there's also due date, right? When this one will be closed, you have to apply before like a certain date, right? And there's a type of roles like some like mobile applications, right? There's some like backend developer, front end developer, like a web analyst, a lot of stuff. And there's like graduation date requirement. So for most of the internship, they can require you to do at least like 1 quarter or 1 semester of study after you complete the internship. And also for the international student, you may also want to consider the sponsorship because some company will do that, but some company will not sponsor you. Yeah. And also you want to pay attention to that company's mission and the culture. So you want to know, am I actually interested in joining the company? So you want to join a company like you really like, and you want to do the thing they're doing. You don't really want to just join a random company because I mean you may not really enjoy working there, and you may not get a return offer if you don't really fit the culture or stuff. And also you want to look for the alumni network. So on LinkedIn, when you go to a job post, they will show you maybe some of people like from your school are working in this company. So you can reach out to them, like alumni. They're really good resource for you to ask like general questions and they get a referral, which are really important in the job the application. So I will do a sample job post from LinkedIn. So this is a software engineer intern um, job just posted by LinkedIn weeks ago. So you can see here. And for now, we already got like 200 applicants for that. So this will be like a general some introduction. Will be so this is summer 2021. And also here are the job roles. So there will be like applications. They mean you will build like some online applications. So there will be like a web development and the mobile engineering. So you will build like for iPhone, Android, iPhone, and iPad. So that you need to learn like iOS development and tools engineering. There will be mainly like infrastructure team, and there are like some. So those are things you want to pay attention to if you're interested in those. Responsibility. This is like general response. You want to develop like multi-tier, scalable, high volume performing, and reliable user-centric application. Yeah, and also this is about the location. This will happen in Sunnyvale, San Francisco, and New York. So you want to pay attention to those see if you really want to like go there and work there. And this is the basic qualification. So you want to make sure you are like a Bachelor of Art or a Bachelor of Science degree, like in computer science or relative technical field. I think if you're from Cox, that's fine. Like those are like technical field or data science major. Those are really good. And also you want to make sure you know at least like one like Java or C++, C Sharp. You need to be familiar at least one of those languages so you can do the interview, right? And there will be some preferred qualifications. Like this is the graduation date I mentioned earlier. So they want you to complete your program before December 2022 so that they can convert you to full-time on time. Because for the LinkedIn, you only have like a 1 year windows for your full-time conversion. So if you graduate after a year of the internship, you may not get a full-time return offer. Yeah. So for those are just something good to have, but it's not really required. Yeah. And those just some like random stuff. They official of like equal opportunity statement. Like if you're interested, you can take a look, but it's not really necessary, right? And here's the estimated pay range. Like it's about like $40, like to $50 an hour. Like it's kind of normal in the Silicon Valley companies. And so now I'm a premium user, so I can see how I compare to other applicants. So I have like Python, Java, like all those skill are matched. And you can see like what are the people. So 69% people are having bachelor degrees. And 26 have master degree. Those are something like nice to have, but like you don't really have to have that. It's just like part of the premium. And I think if you're new to LinkedIn, you can like have like free for a month, so you can use that to apply for job. And you can see here LinkedIn hire like 194 people from UC San Diego, and you can see them all. So this can be a way for you to like reach out to your like alumni and ask for help, right? Ask questions, ask for referral. So yeah, that's like a sample job post. That's a location. So like most of the other job posts will look like this on LinkedIn, and you will have all those informations. Yep. Cool. Okay, now go to the next one. So once you so after you choose you find the job you're interested in applying, so you want to have a really good resume to apply to that, because the first step is a resume screen. So you want to make sure yourself pass the resume screen. So most importantly, you don't want to write your life story. I know like a lot of people may have like a lot of experiences you want to share with the recruiter, but just don't like post like 10 or 20 of the experiences, because that'll be too much. So you want to keep everything simple and concise, and just one page max. This is kind of like industry standard. And most people with like 10 plus year experience don't have like 2 page resume. So just keep it one page and simple. And if your resume is too long, the recruiter will probably not like finish reading it, and you just like lose the opportunity, right? There'll be four major parts for the resume. The first one will be the education, like where you go to the college, right, and what you're majoring, and what kind of courses have you taken, right? And also you can mention your GPA. If you think your GPA is really high, right, you should mention it. And then there will be the work experiences. It's kind of like the work you have been done before, and the personal projects and the skills. So those are the four important parts. And if you don't have like enough information, you can also write a like introduction about yourself, like your summary, like what you're looking for, right? Just like a one sentence, like one paragraph summary about yourself. So if you have like too many experiences, you only want to keep the relevant ones in the resume. So you can have like different resumes for different jobs, right? So you can have resumes for like data science job, and you can have a different resume for a software developer job. So if you have like a lot of experiences, then I would recommend like just writing two different versions of resumes, just to keep everything at the one page max. And also, if you don't have many experiences, I know like in college you may not have enough experiences, then you can write like some of your personal projects, maybe some like open source project you worked on GitHub, or like some of your class projects, right? And you can also add more details to existing experiences. So talking about details, so what to include in that? So first, you want to write about your role, right? Like what are you working as? Are you like a software developer? Are you a web developer, or like mobile engineer, right? And what kind of technology you have used? Like if you're a web developer, you probably use like React.js, or like MySQL database, blah, 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 right? And also in the end, you want to mention your contribution and the result. And during that, you want to use some number to highlight your result. So here's an example. You can say, I worked as something like a software engineer or like a mobile developer using Swift or Objective-C and Xcode. So in here, you want to include the technology you have used. And I work on this project, right, which is used by 10,000 users. So for in here, you want to highlight like what the scale of your project, right? 10,000 users means a lot, so you might actually make a really good impact, right? And in the end, I have improved the performance by some percentage. So this is your result. Like I completed this. And if your company have some like a rating system, you can also mention that. Like I achieved the highest rating, or like the second highest, or top 10%, like in this internship. So those are some highlight for your resume. And also, I think it's a really good idea to complete your LinkedIn profile. So on LinkedIn, all-star profile is more likely to be found by recruiters. So on LinkedIn, like if all-star profile means like you have everything filled out. You have like all of your job, like all of your work experience there. You have your like a school education, and you have like your headline, your like a about page, right? So like all-star profile on LinkedIn, you will have like a higher priority when a recruiter conduct a search. And also it can serve as your CV, because on LinkedIn you can put as many experiences you have. So it can actually be like a source of your experiences for your resume, right? You can, so if you want to apply to a job, you can just pick some experience you wrote on LinkedIn and put on the resume. And having a good LinkedIn profile can help you to also get more connections, which is a huge part of LinkedIn, to use connection to network with others and to get a job. So people with more connection will also be more likely to be found by the recruiters. So now I will just do a quick view of my LinkedIn profile. So on my LinkedIn, so here's my name, right? And this is the headline. So headline basically you telling other people like what your current role are, or like something you want to highlight. You can say I'm a CSE student at UCSD, right? Those are like pretty common headline. And for about, it's just like a personal summary. It's like what are you am I working on right now, and what am I looking for. Like, so here's my experiences and what am I looking for. So just keep it simple, like 2 or 3 sentences, really short, just to let other people know you, right? And then in here, I put my resume. So if you look at my resume, I put it as the sample. Like I gave earlier, I have education, I have my GPA, some courses I have studied, right? And here's some of my work experiences. This is like what I have completed, blah blah blah, and this is my personal project. So like I mentioned like what's my role in the project and what I accomplished. And then I have put some skill like Swift, Objective C. So those are something that you want to include in your resume. There's a lot of template online. You can use those, or you can just like write your own. Yeah. So here, so this is the All-Star I mentioned. So once you complete everything, you will have an All-Star like badge on your profile. So that will give you like a higher chance of being viewed by the recruiters. And you will list all of your experience here. So I kind of just, for me, I just copy off everything from my resume to LinkedIn, and also like copy my uh, experience from LinkedIn to resume, just like that. Yeah, and you can include some link of the job you worked on, right? And here's your education, license and certification, blah blah blah. And you can also get an endorsement from others. So I have some Java Python experiences, so some of my colleagues like endorse me. And there's a way you can take a skill quiz, which will help you to like have a higher priority in the job search. Yeah, so LinkedIn just like that. So before I move to the next one, is there any question you guys want to ask?
Yeah, I have a question.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I see on a lot of people's LinkedIn profiles that they don't really have descriptions for their like work or jobs.
Mm-hmm.
Can you speak a little to like the importance of having points that describe your LinkedIn experience, especially like if you have your resume that kind of details this already?
Yeah. So I think it's pretty important to have some detailed on LinkedIn, right? Because on LinkedIn you can people can fake their experiences, right? So if you don't have a like a detail of like what you have done, your experiences, the system may consider as like a incomplete or like a junk experience, junk data, right? So I would recommend if you can add some detail to it, just add it, right? Just copy from your resume. I mean, it won't take like too much spaces. It is basically like the same thing as your resume. So that will make your profile like more authenticate. Like people will believe you're actual person, and the people also people who are interested in your profile, they will like read more in detail about like what have you accomplished. That will also give you a higher chance of getting a job. So like when you apply to some job, some company will ask for your LinkedIn profile, and they will take a look. I mean, they will take a look of all those detail during their like review. Yeah, so like I would recommend like having all those detail if possible.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I had a question as well.
Mm-hmm.
You mentioned using LinkedIn to kind of reach out to alumni for referrals and everything,
Mm-hmm.
but that can be kind of awkward and like inauthentic at times. So do you have any tips on how to actually expand your network?
Yeah, so I actually I kind of include that in my slide for a later stage, but I can just show you a quick one. So if I go to so if I take a look of the alumni, and if I'm interested in this guy, I don't know, this so I can just click connect, and so here's the option to add a note, right? So here you can kind of do a like brief introduction of yourself, like, hey, my name is William, and I'm a senior studying at UCSD. So I've and also UCSD alumni, and I'm really interested in like learning more about LinkedIn. Can we like connect? Blah blah blah, right? So you can just add a note here, and most people will like accept your connection if you include a note. So, and also if you're alumni, people are like, I kind of accept all of the connection requests I received. So yeah, so if you're alumni and you're like, you have like a note, you will have really high chance to get connected.
Okay.
Mhm.
Thank you. But also, like, what do you do after you connect? I guess connecting is fine. You can just send a connection. They may accept or they may not accept. But what is the next step?
So the next step, if you wanna, so you can start like asking questions about like what are interesting about like LinkedIn or like the company they're working at, right? So like, can you like, so kind of you have to prepare some questions before you send any messages, like what are you interested in, right? Like, are you interested in learning more about like work-life balance at LinkedIn, or you are interested about the culture, or interested about like mobile development, or some like general question like how do you transform from like UCSD to like LinkedIn? How do you transform from school to something, right? So you want to kind of ask some like a personalized question. So you can see she has some experience as doing like an intern at Qualcomm. So you can maybe ask about like what's your experience at the Qualcomm? Like how do you think that compared to LinkedIn, right? So those kind of question. And if you want to ask for a referral, I would say you want to get a job ID, like you want to get the job link ready, and you can just send the job link to that person. Say, hey, I'm really interested in this job, and I think I'm qualified. And you can read like a third person like introduction about yourself, right? Right, like what you're good at, like what's your major, and just write a short paragraph of your highlight about yourself. Because if I'm gonna refer someone, I need the introduction from them. I need to write something why this person worth my time, like worth the HR's time to do an interview with, right? Why that person can take this referral. So you kind of want to like show that person like why you're worth their time to do the referral for, right? But yeah, you can just like ask a general question or ask advices. You can just like once you connect, you can just go to the messaging and message them. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Cool. I'll move to the next one. So after having your resume ready, you want to start applying. So my recommendation is apply as early as possible. So most of those jobs are rolling basis, which means once they fill out the spot, they will stop hiring. So the earlier you apply, the higher chance you will get you will get accepted to this program, because they will have more headcount at the early. So once they start filling the headcount, you may have like 800 people compete for only 5 like headcounts. So apply early as possible, and also apply to as many as you can. So during my internship search, I applied more than like 100 and 200 jobs. So it's really important to apply as many as possible, because like apply too many can give you like higher chance of getting one, right? Because an internship is for to learn, so you don't have to worry about like not knowing anything like in their like qualification part. Because like, before I apply, I don't really know about iOS development, but I can still apply, right? Don't discourage yourself. So it's all okay to not much match out, right? You can always learn it, and if you will have zero chance of getting it if you don't apply. So just apply to as many as possible, just to increase your chance. And it's really simple. Most of the job application only take like 5 minutes to complete, and some of them may require you write like a short essay, like of saying like why you like the company. So that might take more time, but most of them, like especially on LinkedIn, they have like easy apply that will only take like a couple of seconds or like 5 minutes at max, right? And also you want to keep a document with all of your detailed informations, so you can just what I'm saying here is like you can have your have your resume ready or like LinkedIn ready, right? So you can just copy paste from them whenever you fill out all those applications. So like, some of them will ask you for your like a home address, blah blah blah, right? So you want to keep a document from them, so you can just like, copy and paste it, which can save you a lot of time instead of like typing one by one. And also you want to keep a list of all the jobs you have applied to. So this way you can track all the progress of the jobs you applied to, right? So you can you can like write a Excel sheet in this form, like company, application date, job name, like have you received the online assessment, and have you received the interview. So this is just a way for you to organize your progress, right? I think this is pretty helpful for me, but it's just optional. Yeah, and then here like that's where I mentioned like ask friends or alumni for referral. So as I mentioned, referral has a higher chance of getting in, because you will have the high priority in the list. So when when they're looking for resume, they will take a look at the people with referral first. So company like Facebook or like I think LinkedIn, people really like a referral there. And also before you ask for a referral, you want to do some like research before asking it, right? So you want to check, does this company accept referral? So I know some company don't really accept referral. So like having referral might like hurt your chances. So you want to do some research before that. And also you want to know like what you like about this company and why should you get a referral? Like as I mentioned earlier, like you want to make yourself seems like worth their time to do the referral for, right? Because if a person refer you, that means you kind of, if you're getting, you kind of like increase their reputation, right? But if you like not really a good candidate, like that might hurt that person's reputation. So sometimes people are really like picky when they are trying to do referral. So you wanted to show them why you're worth their time to do the referral for, right? And also you can use the LinkedIn to find alumni, and as I mentioned, you can write a good invite message like, "Hi, I'm some blah blah blah," right? And I'm a blah blah UCSD alumni, and I'm interested in this job position at this place, and why? Because blah 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 blah. You can mention like why you are qualified for this, right? Just keep it simple and short, because people don't really have time to read a 10,000 words essay. So once you apply and pass the resume, the recruiter will reach out to you to give you an online OA, which is called online coding assessment. So for this, the main purpose is just to test your coding ability to see if you are like able to code and eligible to like pass all the tests, right? So so normally OA will range from like 30 minutes to 2 hours, depends on different company. But for most companies, normally just an hour, and with two questions. Sometimes it's three. Yeah, but most of the time it's only two questions. And they are hosted on either HackerRank or CodeSignal. So you can check those websites out. And so how do you prepare? LeetCode can be a really good friend, right? I know a lot of people can practice LeetCode before they do the online assessment. But if you want to do LeetCode, I would recommend focus on quality rather than quantity. So if you can do 100 questions.
I'm going to interrupt you. For students who haven't heard of LeetCode, can you explain real quickly what it is?
Oh, okay. So LeetCode is just like a website that contain all the like interview like coding questions. So there's like easy, medium, hard level, and you can try to solve the problem there, and you can see how's your speed and how's your result compared to others. So it's a really popular platform to practice for like OA and the interview. Yeah, and I think that they offer like a free version, so everyone can try it out. And you can also use like HackerRank. They offer some like practice tests there as well. Yeah. So what I mean by quality is that I want you should try to understand the question. Like, why do I use this algorithm or this data structure, right? You want to understand the purpose, like why do I use it? Because once you fully understand the question, you can apply this solution to multiple other questions. So if you can like understand like maybe 10 or 20 questions, like you're really familiar with it, you don't have to do like hundreds of questions, because once you get a hand of it, like you kind of, I mean, just like kind of stay inside you, and you will like you can solve the problem like whenever you want, like and also I recommend like practice with your friends, right? Teaching someone can be the best way for you to learn. So I got like I think it's really important, because I was an IA and a tutor. So while helping other students to solve the problems, it kind of like helped me to be more familiarized with the content. So I'll be more familiar with why I need to use this algorithm, why I need to use this data structure, because I need to explain to somebody else, right? So during this explanation process, it helped me to learn this like more solid. So I would recommend like maybe to find one of your friend and just explain one LeetCode question to them and see if you can teach them to understand it. And if you can do that, you should be good. Like you are solid. And also don't stress. Like before the OA, just take a sip of water and don't stress. Just take your time and finish it. If you cannot solve it, it's fine, because there's like a lot of other opportunities. Just don't stress out too much. And while writing your code, you want to write a good style and documentation, because I know some company will actually take a look at your code. So you want to keep your code like clean. You don't want to use some like a random variable name like A, B, C, and just keep your like code messy, because readability is really important in the industry, because because a good style can actually increase the efficiency of working in the big companies. So some companies really care about it. So try to work on that. You can write some pseudo code before you actually solve the problems, and you can just keep those as a comment, just to kind of a way to expand your thought process. And also, don't let your OA expire. So when you receive the email about the OA, they will tell you this OA will last for like a day or like 2 days or a week. So make sure you complete it on time. Don't let it expire, because once you expire, you will not have another second chance to do it. Okay. So once you pass the OA, the recruiter will reach out to you to schedule an interview with you. So typically there are like two types of interviews. There will be like coding and a behavior. And sometimes like some company just like keep two together. They will have a coding and they will ask you some behavior question during the coding interview. So what is a coding interview? So basically it's pretty similar to OA. It's main purpose is to test your coding ability and problem solving skill. And normally it's like 1 or 2 questions, depends on your speed. So if you can finish one question like really quick, then they will give you a second one and maybe a third one if you're lucky. So most of the time the coding interview will last about like an hour. Some company will do like 2 hours interview. That all depends, and it will like happen with one person or 2 different people. It just all like depends on company. So your recruiter should like, give you some detail about like what the interview looks like when they send you the email. And then some company will have like behavior questions. So basically just ask about your past experiences, and they want to make sure like they want you as a colleague. So a lot of companies like LinkedIn, like they really care about a culture fit. So they want to see if you like fit their culture. Just yeah. So how do you prepare for like a coding interview? So as I mentioned earlier, it's pretty similar to OA. So basically you can just do the same preparation as I mentioned earlier for the OA. Like you want to practice with your friends, right? And during the interview, you want to make sure to ask clarification questions. So when the interviewer presents you the questions, you want to like go over it with him like carefully. So you want to know like what are some like hidden cases, and if you have some question, just ask early. It's better to ask early than ask during the coding part, because that will make you seem like kind of like how to say it, like not paying too much attention when solving the problem, right? And before you're writing any code, you kind of want to expand your thought process to the interviewer, and they also keep the conversation going while you're coding. Just consider like this coding interview as a discussion with the interviewer. So you and the interviewer are solving this problem together, because this kind of a way for them to evaluate whether you are a good candidate, whether they want to be whether they want you to be their colleague, whether they want to solve the problem together with you, right? If they have the question, can they reach out to you and ask you for questions? So during this explanation, you can explain like why you choose this approach, right? Like why do you use this algorithm? Why do I use this data structure? And is there like alternative solution, right? Like for example, maybe the solution I give you is like O2 O(n) square time complexity, but is there a possible we can do like log n complexity, right? And also like what is space complexity? So you kind of want to review those like terms before the interview, because sometimes they will ask you to explain those. And you want to also like check with them what are some edge cases. So once you explain all of these questions, you kind of like you already start the discussion with the interviewer, right? So once you explain your approach, the interviewer say, maybe that's not a really good one, so maybe you can try this one. And you can say, maybe I don't want to try that one because I think this one's good because blah, 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 right? So there's no correct answer. You are just trying to have some discussion with the interviewer. Just because like in the industry, like once you start working, you will have a lot of scenario like this because nobody know the answer, right? And you and your colleague are trying to solve this problem together, and you guys are gonna have a lot of discussion, a lot of disagreement, right? Agreement and disagreement. So this is kind of a way for them to see if they actually want to work with you. So if you just for example, if you just get a question and jump to coding without saying anything, I think people actually don't really want to work with you because like in the real world, right? You have to have a discussion. So you kind of want to practice that to have a really good communication skill. But also you want to make sure you solve the problem, right? Because that's also really important. And during the interview, during the coding part, you want to also use the clear variable name so you can explain your thought process to your interviewer clearly. Because like when they read your code, you want them to understand your code. You don't want them to guess like what that part means, right? Then like how do you prepare for like a behavior interview? So first you want to familiarize with your resume because a lot of the question will be asked from your resume. Like, hey, I saw you work at this company. Can you tell me a little bit about your experience there, right? So to prepare for that, make sure you can talk about at least like 2 of your experiences, and you can like maybe write a story about it. So to make it sounds more interesting. So basically, you can talk about like what is your role, right? Like what your work on. Like you are like a software engineer or you are like a web developer. And during the process, like what did you learn, right? Like you learn how to like build a website. You learn how to build an Android app. You learn how to create a database. You can like, talk about that, right? And why do you think that is important, right? Like why do you think this job is important? Like why do you think your work is important, right? You should be able to talk about that as well, and also like what's your personal gain, like blah blah blah. Just try to write like a 5 minutes to 10 minutes. I think 5 minutes story about it. Just make sure like you have something to talk about, so that your experience seems more like real, authenticate. And also you want to research for the you want to do some research about the company, right? You want to know their mission, their value, and the culture. So most of those information are available in their about page. So you want to read through them carefully to show the company you actually want to work for this company, right? It's not just some random company you apply online. To show you actually want this job. So for example, if a person come to me and they're really interested in the thing I'm working on, I think it'll be more likely for me to hire that person, right? So yeah, so you kind of want to research for the company and why do you think you can be a good culture fit to the company, right? And some tips, right? So normally by the end of the interview, you have the chance to ask for 1 or 2 questions. So you kind of want to prepare like 1 or 2 questions to ask, so you can keep the conversation going, right? So some example will be like, how do you like this company, right? Like what does the working at this company looks like? So you can just like ask those, and they can talk about. They will share their experience with you, and at that time you can kind of see if you like the working environment at the company, right? So those are like this is a benefit for both you and the interviewer, and also you want to show them you're a problem solver and have the potential to grow. So like if maybe like during the interview, if there's something you don't know, just don't lie about it. Like it's okay for you to not know the thing, right? So if I apply for this job, they say, hey, are you familiar with mobile development? If you're not, you say, actually I'm not, I only have like little experience on that, but I'm really willing to learn, and I'm really a fast learner because in my past project, blah blah blah, I work on like the web development, and I pick it up in like 1 week or 2, right? So you want to show them you have the potential to learn, because for the internship, it's different from the full time. In this internship, they expect you to learn and they want you to learn. So don't be afraid of that, and just don't lie. Like if you don't know that, just don't lie about it, because people don't like lie. You want to make you should yeah. So make sure you are the someone they want to work with. It's like you can have a discussion about the problem with them, as I mentioned earlier, and also they can rely on you to solve the problem together. So if they ever encounter an issue in their development, you want to make them feel they're comfortable to reach out to you to ask for like solutions, right? So yeah, just to keep that, just so the communication matters. So you want to just keep the conversation going. Just don't leave the interviewer alone. Yeah, you want to keep the conversation going and make it feel like you are solving the problem together with him. I think like for now everything is just remote, so you don't really have a whiteboard. But if you ever had a chance to go to the company interview, you will have a whiteboard. So make sure to write your idea on the whiteboard and discuss with them before you actually write the pseudocode. So that's really important. Yeah. Okay. So after that, if you pass the interview, some company will do a team match for you, right? They will match you to some certain team, such as mobile team or like ads team or like support team, blah blah. There's a lot of different team. So during that process, you want to make sure like you're interested in the topic, because that's really important, because you have to spend like 10 to 12 weeks working on this thing. If you're not really interested in that, you may not actually complete something, right? So you want to make sure you're actually interested in this topic, and if the company allow, you can actually like discuss with them, say, hey, can I change to this group or that group? Just make sure that. And also for the team match, you can try to ask the recruiter to do something you haven't done before, right? So for me, as for the iOS development, I haven't learned that at school, but I think this is pretty interesting. So I want to try it out. So I just asked for them. And it's okay, because as I say, the internship is a place for you to learn. So why not just take this opportunity to learn something you don't know at the school, right? And also you can talk to the manager and make sure the team is nice, because I have some of friends and their team is just like a mediocre. Like their manager doesn't really like talk to them and doesn't really check on them during the internship, so they don't really have like good experience there. But for me, like my manager is super nice. He helped me a lot, and he give me a lot of support. So the team is really important for. It's a really important part for the internship. So make sure you talk to your manager and talk to other people in the team, and make sure you like the team. So once you pass all this, you will get the offer. So once you receive the offer, first of all, just congratulate yourself. You made it here, yay! And then in the offer, there often be a deadline. So you want to make sure you make your decision before the deadline. Um, and if you get like multiple offers, you should choose the one you like the most, right? It can depend on the team, the project, the company culture, the conversion rate. Conversion rate will be like how many interns get converted to the full time last year, right? Some company are like 50%, or some company doesn't really convert at all, right? So you want to do some research on that as well. And also location can matter, right? Like is it in California or is it in other state, or like that all depends on you. And if you already send the offer, just never renege. Like reneging is really, really bad. That means like you take this offer, but then you get the offer later. You like destroy the offer like earlier, right? So that will hurt both of you and your school's reputation, because the company has already spent a lot of time and effort like to getting you this offer, and like taking it away just like not really professional. And some other people may want this job, but they may not get it because they already give it to you, right? So reneging is really, really bad. Just don't do it. Just make your decision before you accept the offer, and never reneging. If you renege, like you can be added to the blacklist of the company, and also you kind of represent UCSD, right? If you renege, like the company may not want to work with UCSD again in the future, so they will hire less people from UCSD. So just keep that in mind when you get the offer. So yeah, I think this is all I want to share. And what's next? So start from today, you should start applying, right? And also you can connect me with me on LinkedIn, and just feel free to ask me any questions there. And also, I'm planning to do another talk about like tips before and during the internship, maybe around December. So if you're interested in that, you can just also come and yeah, join us. Yeah, so good luck to everyone. And is there any question you want to ask?
I actually think I have a question.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So, given that the situation in the world next summer is still a big unknown regarding the pandemic and everything, it's just a lot of the applications that I've seen say something along the lines of takes place at this location unless circumstances surrounding the pandemic force it to be remote instead.
Mm-hmm.
I guess I just wanted to know whether, because I've heard a lot of people that I know get their offers canceled when they applied for the past summer, and I imagine you might end up covering this in the next talk you give. But like, do you think it's still worth going for an internship, even if you don't get that full experience of being on site at some place?
Yeah, I think that's definitely worth a shot because my internship at LinkedIn was remote. It was supposed to happen at the company, but the pandemic happened, so they just have to change it to remote. So I think for next year, I don't think a company will cancel their internship unless the company are in a serious like financial trouble, right? Because for the last year, some company canceled it because the pandemic is so sudden, right? Other company have no preparation for that. But for this year, they should have like clear picture of what next year will look like, right? So they will allocate the headcount for intern like accordingly, and they will have the expectation to like have the internship conduct online. So I wouldn't worry too much about the internship being cancelled. So I would recommend definitely go and apply. And for the remote internship, I think it was a shot. Like I think remote internship actually is pretty good, you know, because I have a lot of free time. Like I can wake up late and just I can wake up and just brush my teeth and then start work. So I don't have to spend my time like commuting around. And you know, like Zoom experience is really nice. You can have like a lot of one-on-one with people, right? And some company use Slack, and then some people company use Microsoft Team. That would be a really good way of communication. So yeah, so I don't think that should discourage you from applying to those company. Yeah.
Yeah, I suppose that's true. I guess it's just the fact that everything kind of seems like it operates that way.
Yeah.
But
I mean, we just don't know like what next year looks like, right?
yeah.
I think if I had to guess, the vast majority will still be online next year. But I think Waylon's point is right that there are fewer internship opportunities being posted because they've already accounted for this. So I would be surprised, and I could be wrong, if as many are canceled next year. Like as Waylon was saying, like they're now planning for this. They have the number, so they're putting out those offers, and they'll make them, and they won't take them away. They just, you're up in the air as to whether you'll be on site.
Got it. Thanks. If nobody else has any questions, I did have one more that I wanted to ask, which is just this is sort of specific to my situation. I did end up working like a temporary contract job for one of the companies I was hoping to apply as an intern for, and while it wasn't really directly related to the kind of thing that I'd be doing as an intern, I guess I was wondering if it would be possible to try leveraging that somehow in my application, because I haven't done anything for the company since I want to say February or something, but I guess I just thought that it might be good because I don't really have that much stuff that's worth putting on my resume yet. Like that's really the one thing, and I guess I was wondering if it would be if it would be putting too many eggs in one basket in a sense to try focusing on that.
Yeah. So you say you're like working as a contractor at that company right now, right?
Oh, not now. It was a couple months ago. I worked for
okay,
them. Like
and you're interested to do the internship at that company, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I would kind of recommend like maybe so. I mean, when you're a contractor, you should have like a manager or like mentor or something, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think you can like feel free to reach out to that person and just express your interest, right? So hey, I worked as a contractor like last year, like in February or something, right? And I'm really interested in like doing the internship like next summer or like next fall. Like are you interested? Maybe like we can talk about it or something. I mean, just do like a short message to express your interest. I mean, it's always worth trying, right?
Yeah, I suppose. So it wouldn't be too much of a. It would be worth like reaching out to the manager that I used to work with and like maybe just ask for like advice or just
definitely.
Yeah, okay.
Definitely, yeah. So maybe you can just start like by asking some like advices, right? Like say, hey, I'm maybe a sophomore or junior at the college, and I'm currently looking for internship, and I just want to ask some advices from you. Can you give me some? And then once the conversation starts going, you can just like talk about, hey, do you know like is the internship still available at your company? And do you think maybe I can just come back again because I really enjoy working at this company? Like maybe I can come back again as an intern next year. just something like that. Yeah.
Got it. Okay. Thanks.
Yep.
Well, there are two questions in the chat and they're related. So Aditi said, I don't have much project experience yet. And I was wondering if you had an advice on how to actually start or find projects to do.
Okay. So there's a lot of project on GitHub, so you can check out some like public repos, some like open source project. Just go there and read through their description and just download their project and then maybe create a pull request later. Or I think you can just if you take some classes, right? I think in Cox 18 we had some final project, right? Yeah, I mean that could be a project, right? If you make something cool you want to share about, yeah, just put it in there. Like you made a game or something, right? Because you definitely learn a lot from that project. Or also, if you're interested in making a website or trying to do some like algorithm for like web scraping or something, you can just always start it or just find one of your friend and then start doing it. And also, class project can be good, right? I took Cox 120 and like CSE 110. Those two classes offer a lot of opportunity to do a project. I mean, everything can be a project, right? Even if just like a final for the class, it can also be a project. It just all depends on like how you talk about it, right? You want to like talk about it in a way that it's a big deal for you and you learn a lot from that, right? So yeah, so always like if you don't have too much experience, just always think about like how can you talk more about something you already have, right?
Yeah, I'm going to piggyback on that too. Think about things in your daily life that you wonder about and see if you can turn that into a project, either a way to build something small. It doesn't have to be super in depth that would make your life easier day to day. Or if you're going in the data science route, like what's a question? Is there a way you could get data that can become a project? I was just talking about this with a Facebook data scientist, and that's what he did. That's how he got his foot in the door. He didn't have a ton of coursework. He didn't have a ton of internship experience. He wasn't coming from a big name school, but by like making unique projects that were specific to his daily life. He did a politics at UF focus. He did looking at bias in Greek life at UF. Like they were all about his life specific, but they made it unique and gave him something to talk about.
Yeah.
Next question was, how did you get your internship? So what exactly was the process for your LinkedIn internship, aside from this general?
Okay, for me, so I started my application last October. So it's also around this time, like when they just posted. So I submit my resume. I do an easy apply on LinkedIn, right? And then I haven't heard back from them for a long time, for like 2 or 3 months. I thought I didn't get it because I haven't heard back for so long. But then I received the email, which kind of ended up like in my spam folder. So always check your spam folder, okay? Because some important email may actually exist in your spam folder. So I received from my spam folder like from of an email from the recruiter, right? So they mentioned, so that's around November. So they say, hey, there's an OA. I think you're like good, can be a good candidate for our company. So here's the online assessment. Go ahead and do it. So the OA are like 90 minutes long, 3 questions. The first 2 was kind of easy. The third one is like pretty. It's actually really hard. It takes me a while to finish it. So after that, I got my interview a week later, like after I submit the OA, because I passed it. So they say, hey, congratulations, you passed your OA, and we want to schedule like 2 phone interview with you. So the 2 phone interviews are consecutive. So you have to have like a 2-hour blocked booked. So the first one, I mean, both of them are like a coding interview with a little bit of behavioral questions. So it's just like one person come here and they will post a question on CodePad. So CodePad is a platform where like both you and the interviewer can see the code and you can write code there. The interviewer can post the question there. So yeah, so I just do so at the beginning they ask me for a brief introduction about myself. So yeah, definitely I think it's really important to prepare like a 5 minutes like elevator pitch about yourself, right? About like a past experiences and what you're looking for, just to give the interviewer like a good image of yourself, like a really good first impression. And then for each interview, like I solve like 2 questions. I think for the last one, yeah, I think both of them I solved like 2 questions, and I asked a couple more questions in the end by myself. So after the 2 interviews, I think around a week or so, yeah, I got a call from a recruiter say that I passed the interview and I will be moved to the team matching process. And I started my team matching around like late December, around that time. And let me see. So that took us a while because they have the New Year holiday, and our company has a 1 week shutdown during that time. So it took me like 2 to 3 weeks to get my team matched. And I finally got my offer around like mid January. Yeah, so that's my timeline. And then after that, I just wait until like June for my internship to start. And during the team match process, they will ask me about my preferences. So they say, hey, there's like a mobile, web, front end, back end, like which one are interesting. So I will list like the order of the order of the preferences, and they will match the team based on that. And once the team is matched, they schedule a call with the manager. Yeah, and the manager will go over the project with me. Actually, not the actual project, but just like what the team does and what I might be working on with me during the call. And they tell me if I don't really like this team, I can always let them know, so they will match me to a different team. Yeah, so this is kind of the general process of my internship experience.
Great. The next one is there are two related questions. The first question is, I don't have enough internship experience.
Mhm.
What should I put on the experience part of my resume?
Okay. So I would say you can try to do IA or tutor in the COGS or sales department. That could be a really good experience, right? You can explain like how you help other students and how competitive is the selection process, right? Or else, if you, I think in our school we have a lot of research opportunities that's happen on the real portal. So if you go to the real portal, you can like see what some other professors are working on, and if you're interested in that, you can ask them to join the lab. So the lab work can also be your experiences, right? So my first ever experience was one of my, it's actually a lab experience I had here. It was in, it's like a neuroscience lab. Like I made a like a MATLAB program for them to monitor the calcium calcium image. So I include that in my early resume, like because I mean nobody have an internship experience before their first internship, right? So yeah, so I would just add those things on like on your resume, and also you can try to maybe work at some like a smaller companies like at the San Diego. Maybe just don't get paid or like get only a little pay, just to have some experience on your resume. So my first work experience was actually a small company at the SD. So I went to a resume review session happened on campus, and it happened the HR really liked my resume at that time, which I put some like my personal project and the lab experience there, and they really like it. So they asked me to do an outside interview with them, and then they just give me the job. I mean, they didn't pay me much, but I used this opportunity to learn a lot about like web programming, which is also really helpful on my resume. Yeah.
You comment on the next question a little bit in that answer, but for a little more, there was a question about what advice do you have to finding research opportunities at UCSD? Yeah,
so as mentioned earlier, Real Portal can be really good because actually got my first research experience there. If you go to Real Portal, I think I filter it based on like internship, research experiences, and they will have like professors' email there, so you can just like write professor like an email about like why you're like who you are and why you're interested in this opportunity. And also, you can actually, so you guys take a lot of classes here at UCSD, right? And some professor may actually have some like research like going on. So I would say maybe go research about their website, see what are they actually working on right now, and maybe just go out to them like after the Zoom class. Hey, or you can just email the professor, say, hey, I'm a student in your class, or I was a student in your class maybe last quarter, and I saw you on your website. You're working on this thing, and I'm really interested in that. Can we like maybe talk more about that? Yeah, I think those are a good two way to find the research experiences. And also, if we're on campus, I know a lot of lab will put some like poster like in different like buildings. So definitely pay attention to those as well.
And that answer was, don't just spam people when looking for a research opportunity and say, hi, I'm so-and-so, I'm interested. As William said, like, I'm interested in this specific thing that you work on, and this is why, and could we chat? Because I can tell the difference between a student who has some idea about what I do and a student who's just emailing all the professors they can think of.
Yeah, definitely. Same as like asking other alumni for referral, right? I'm actually interested. You want to make sure you're actually asking. You have done some research about the company or about that person. Because like if somebody just come on me and just throw some random question, I don't really want to spend my time like answering them. Because if you just don't, I mean, yeah. So just make sure you have done some research and ask some like meaningful questions. Yeah.
Yeah, I want to note it's 5:02 just in case anybody's keeping an eye on the time and needs to go. But there was one more question. And the question was, I forgot to ask my interview's email during the interview. Is it weird if I sent out a thank you letter on LinkedIn?
I think it's fine. I mean, it's not really required, but I mean, you just like a 1 or 2 sentence, like you can just do it. It's fine. Like I sent a thank you note to my interviewer after I complete my internship. Oh, sorry, I complete my interview, and I sent them the message through LinkedIn because I mean they work at LinkedIn, so that's kind of like the primary way of communication. But I think it's definitely worth the time to do a thanks note. I mean, if you have done a really good interview, why not just send a thanks note? It only take like a minute or two to compose, right?
Yeah, I want to reiterate that too and say it's always great if you remember to send a thank you. I don't think it would ruin your chances if you didn't, but it's always nice.
Yeah. It's not really like it's not really like a deal breaker, but like it's always nice to have, right?
Yeah. Next question was, as you said, we should apply for the internship as early as possible. Since many internship application has started this year, would it be too late to start looking for research opportunities or apply for tutor now?
No, like you can always apply to it, right? Even if you don't have any experience right now, like when you apply for the internship, I mean, getting a research or like tutor opportunity can always be good for the future, right? So you might miss the windows for this year, but getting those experience can prepare you well for the next year, right? So I would say always do it. Like if you feel like you want to do it, just do it. Like it's always to do it and not, because you will never know what would happen, right? Until you try it. So
yeah, there's another question here. The question is it okay to be going through multiple interview processes for multiple companies at the same time, so long as you don't accept an offer from a company?
Yeah, you can do as many as interview as possible. Like I mean, as long as you have enough time or effort to do it, right? So the reneging is only about like after you accept the offer. So once you accept the offer, you should just cancel all the other interviews, right? So so when you cancel the other interview, just send them an email about, hey, I have already accepted this offer from this company, and but I'm actually really I'm still really interested in your company, so I want to keep in touch and learn more about future opportunities, right? Just send a simple email like that. Will take like 1 or 2 minutes. Yeah. So, but before you accept the offer, you can do as many as you want. There's no like limitation on that. Just as long as, just to make sure that you don't overlap those interviews, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's all really great advice.
Mm-hmm.
All right. There's no other questions in the chat. Did anybody else have a question out loud?
Yeah. Hi, Waylon. How many hours would you say you spent doing leak code questions?
Oh, for me, actually, I didn't do any lead code.
No way.
Yeah, I only do like 2 or 3 questions just for fun, because just try it out. Because so I tutor for like CS 11 and the CSE AB and also Cox 18. I think those classes actually prepare me really well to do the interview questions, because most of the interview questions are pretty like basic level, right? And as long as and if you take some CSE 12, CSE, actually I didn't even take CSE 100 before I did my interview. But just yeah, so the key is just to have the thought process, right? You want to, so that's why I say teaching somebody else is the best way to learn. So when you teach somebody else, it will help you to notice something that you didn't notice before, right? Maybe, hey, there's this bug I didn't worry about earlier, or like writing my code this way may actually hurt my runtime or space complexity. So I would say maybe find a coding partner with you, like just to do some like lead code together, and just trying to teach each other. Like maybe just find a medium level question and try to teach that to your friends. I think during that process you will learn a lot. Yeah. But for lead coding, for the actual hours, I know some of my friends, my colleagues at the LinkedIn, they did like 100, 200 questions and just keep doing it every day. I think that kind of just depend on person, like see how comfortable you are with the coding question. If you feel you're really comfortable with it, then you don't have to spend too much time on it. You should spend your time on trying to understanding fully of the one question, like understand the logic behind it, like why you use the data structure or the algorithm. But if you still feel like you have some problem with reading the questions, understanding the question, or doing the lead code problems, you should spend you should spend more time like doing like lead code. Yeah, it's all like I mean, there's no like a concrete answer of like how many hours you should do, but I would say just to reach a point until you're comfortable enough to explain your answer to somebody else and to teach them to make them understand. I think that's the point. Yeah.
Cool. Thanks.
Yep. No problem.
And would you say that, because I'm also currently a tutor at the moment, would you say that your experience, like, I mean, I imagine it helped at least somewhat, but like, I guess did the fact that you were a tutor come up at any point in the conversation? And like is there anything you mentioned that you were able to gain out of the experience that helped you?
So during some of the interview, they asked me about my experience as a tutor, right? So I told them I learned a lot through like helping other people. That kind of like helped me to like make my coding skill like more solid, right? And also, like UCSD, the CSC tutor program has a good reputation in the industry. So I know a lot of tutors, they land a really good job because, I mean, for the tutor program, we have a really like strict like selecting process. So if you're able to get into the tutor program, it definitely means you are like a top student at the CSC department, right? Or like in any other department. So we have a really good reputation on that. So some companies will actually pay attention to that and give and kind of like make your resume like stand out more, right? So definitely, if you're a tutor, definitely mention that on your resume because the tutor, as I mentioned, that we have a really good reputation there. And to talk about your tutor experience, just say like, you can say maybe how do you help your professor to prepare for like the programming assignment, because preparing for that can also, I don't know, like help you learn a lot about coding, right? And how do you like help students to solve the problems? Because I think helping other people to solve the problem is a really important skill, like especially in the industry. Because I mean, with someone like as I mentioned earlier, like there's no correct solution. Like when you're solving the real world problem, right? And sometimes your colleague may not know the answer, but you may not, like you may know it, right? So have the ability to teaching other people is really really important. And I think being a tutor can also help you to improve your like communication skill, right? You'll be able to explain your thought process more clearly to the other person. So I think those are some points that I gained from like being a tutor.
Yeah, it's definitely helped a lot with me in that regard too. All right, thanks a lot for for helping us out.
Cool.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thanks, Arlen.
Yep. No problem.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thanks everybody who was here today. Thank you, William, for sharing. There were a lot of thanks in the chat as well. And this was recorded, so I will share this and we'll let you know about the next session.
Cool. Thanks, everyone.